good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No idea what time you're watching this, but it is Sunday, November the 2nd. As of now, I believe it's 2:13 p.m. over there on the East Coast. It's 3:13 a.m. over here, Monday, November the 3rd, where I am. So I think the daylight savings thing is nipped in the bud. We've figured it out pretty quick there. Tracking a low pressure system. It is not a typhoon. It's not a tropical storm, but it is on its way. And from the appearance of it, as we go into Monday evening into Tuesday night, it will be going to the lower portion to the south. So the only thing I should be getting hit with is some wind, tiny little bit of rain, and then after that, everything clears up for the better part of, I'd call it a good week, until this development starts bringing up over here. So that's about all that we got to talk about over there on the weather. Over there on the baseball side, international as well, Canada and the United States, got to say, man, fantastic. What a World Series. I lost coverage of baseball decades ago when the licenses were pulled from here in the Philippines. But as a many-time fantasy baseball champion and avid baseball fan, history fan, this was a phenomenal World Series. Congratulations. However, did not go well. Did not go well. Not for Canadians. Did not go well for your one opportunity to be famous. And what do? You catch Rojas's home run ball and you do what they told you to do. You throw it back. Oh my God. How could you make a throw like that in public, let alone on national TV? So this tweet went out saying the guy who threw Rojas' home run back onto the field never buys a drink again in his life in Toronto. He kind of can't go out ever again during his life in Toronto because of the way he fucking throws. So, I am doing everything I can to get over this flu. So, yeah, while you're over there on X, by all means, go over there, click follow. You know, do us a favor. Over here on the YouTube, again, same thing. Go over there, click subscribe, like a video or two if you see anything that's worth your attention. And one final item before we get going, I will bring you to is there is an email that was sent out early this morning before you all woke up, and it is labeled test. And the reason this is because we're switching over our web hosting service. We're getting out of GoDaddy. We're moving over away from GoDaddy. That's all that needs to be known. Once this process was starting to take place last week, suddenly my tradertim@32trades.com email started to become, for whatever reason, corrupted, spam. It didn't exist because it has that email over on GoDaddy. We need to create it once the website has been transferred to the new hosting over onto the new server. So it's sitting in limbo. I had sent out an email there on on Thursday, on the 32 trade updates, 149, 138, 121, looking back at your, obviously, Meta after the earnings report, your eBay, which been going on since August, and the Oracle, which, I don't know, 2-3 times has been played already now with Oracle. But I also sent you out there on Thursday prior to the open is your options as to what you want to do if you want to roll and get out of your monthly red candle, even with the gap up monthly red candle that we started out the week with, October 31, 6805, 6800s. If you want to roll out of it and you want to move to someplace else, it's all there for you. A lot of people didn't get these emails, so there's nothing I can do about that. I apologize. I'm only as shitty as I've been created to be shitty. So nothing I can do to avoid having that not happen again until this email issue gets conflicted with. So October, what a fucking idiot I am. It closed green. A green month. A sixth consecutive green month. And to make it that matters even worse, they closed the week red last week, minus 5 points. Minus 5 points for a red week. 6900s, yeah, you saw them. But then as you had that 69 pop over there into the FOMC, all it was just fractionally lower as the week went on. 4 red closes below the open, closing green because of the gap up that we had overnight, which was quite clear because of the way that they slammed minus 1% on us on Thursday. And we ended the week red 5 points, wasting a red week. We had 15 green closes on the week, or on the month, 8 red closes on the month. But again, 6th green month in a row. We have now closed green 57.89% of the time during the course of the year. We have closed red 42.11% during the course of the year. 121 versus 88. Looks pretty simple. On the daily, absolutely. When you look at it on the weekly, completely different game. So as for the spreads, well, how'd we do? Well, started out the month, once again, looking like stupid. First trade of the month, went out there with a $4 credit, completely failed. Totally failed, fell right on my face. So lost $1 on the very first trade of the month. Haven't had that happen, but it happens. So ending the month off, where did we end off? Ended out with 23 trades that were winners, 7 trades that were losers, including those that were rolls, 76.67% win ratio, 23.33% loss ratio. If you did, like I suggest, just the one contract only and traded the trades for what the trades were there to be traded for, multiple, I didn't count it, I could count it, full credits, the ones that had to be scalped because of where we were or what was mentioned, and you're looking at $6,200 in gains, $1,250 in losses, so total it out to $4,950 trading one contract each. Make it 2 contracts, double that, 3 contracts, triple that, 4 contracts, quadruple it, 100 contracts. You see where it's going. So anyway, here we are with the lower side broken there on Friday, but we did close above it. We're sitting in limbo for the most part, but that gets a little bit easier to see when you go and look that we have our full moon coming to us here on November the 5th. So in the early part of this week, you'll be getting your full moon. It's absolutely beautiful outside. I can tell you that right now. So with their full moon coming in, and let's go back and look at our data because we have that 6890, 6890, and we've only been able to make it up to 6880, 6880. So I would assume that you are going to be able to have provided for you the gap filled at 6890, which would coincide together with your full moon. Assume that that's what you would be getting, and then you can start looking for your SNAP, food stamp, full-on, earnings just bunks. But you're definitely looking for your upside to go through in the beginning. So here we go. Our very first start of the week tomorrow is Palantir. Palantir we've been pretty good with, had some very good success with it. Palantir, nice little spot. I'll share it with you if you want to look at it. Uber on Tuesday, Shopify, Spotify. I'm still amazed at how these numbers come out on Spotify and Netflix, but is what it is. Beyond Meat, the new GameStop, The Big Short. So that's another one to pay attention to. AMD will be the headliner for the week over here on Tuesday after the close. Then you also have on Wednesday after the close both Robinhood and IONQ, which Martin Shkreli has been live streaming daily, and it is getting a large following right behind it with Martin over there every day. So IONQ, interesting. I'm not trading it, obviously, but got McDonald's before the market opens here on Wednesday, so that'll be a nice one to finally get under our belts. And the rest of the week goes absolutely dark, other than Wendy's over here on Friday, which I see no reason to be excited about. And this is the way that your earnings is going to start ending off until you go into leather jacket Fonzie wannabe NVIDIA that reports on OPEX week. QQQ. 3 green weeks in a row. I mean, fucking just ridiculous last week. 3 green weeks in a row. The big gap up over the weekend. Never filled it. Never went down into 617. Never got below 625. 7, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 green months in a row over here on your NASDAQ, your QQQ. Jeez.
ये नारियल हिलने लगा है गुरुदेव, नारियल हवा में उड़ चुका है।
हर चीज का एक समय होता है।
नहीं, इस समय में ये स्टूडियो में भी लाइव करके दिखा रहे हैं।
अच्छा, उड़ा दिया?
हाँ,
ये नारियल की तरह ऊपर नीचे जो आपने चलाया था ऐसे पकड़ के भी दिखा दिया। और यहाँ देखिए, यहीं पे रोकूंगा हवा में, यहीं स्टॉप, एकदम रुक जाइए, झूल जाइए, प्रश्नों का उत्तर भी देगा ये। क्या बात है?
And then here's your IWM. IWM, red week, green month, but red week, no big deal. Green month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 green months in a row over here on the Russell 2000. 7 green months in a row over here on the NASDAQ, QQQ. 6 green months in a row over on the SPX. It's not rocket science. It's basic statistics. It's all that it is. So be careful, bulls. That's it. Just be careful. So let's finish off with that. And because, again, we're kind of going into the quiet period before we go into the holidays, let's go look over the charts and see what we got. Start you out with here on the SPX. It's fractionally zoomed in just so that you can see your gaps. 68.22. Filled it. Great. Nice move. Excellent. We got nothing else. Nothing. Left us with nothing. There's no clues, no suggestions. There's nothing. You got your gap down here at 67.92 from Monday. Your big gap from over the weekend over there at 67.38. And again, that one tiny, which I'll go ahead and put it on here so I'm not considered a gap or racist or whatever wants to be called, but somewhere around here, I don't know where the fuck it's at, is there, right there. Well, 68.90, yeah, it's close enough. 68.90, 68.80, and that's your one and only upside gap to be looking for over there on your SPX? Nothing. There's nothing special at all. Come onto your wider view, and again, same shit. Looking back at it from the 62.12.69, counting where the wave is, looking at this as being the final fifth wave, 267, 137, 420, 72, 213.80, and here we are having produced 369. So can we go a fractional little bit higher? Yes, we can go a fractional little bit higher. Does it make sense to go a fractional little bit higher? No, it does not. But it's November. It's November. You've got another 5 weeks, 6 weeks until the next FOMC meeting. You've got another 8 weeks left in the year. So there's still no reason whatsoever why selling would accelerate into the end of the year when you have a brand new tax year that's coming in January. Volatility? Yes. After we start getting into that post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas period like we had last year, where we started getting volatility as we went into the FOMC meeting, picture perfect. But heading into that, very calm storm, or very calm waters that we're heading into, with the other understanding that there is basically nothing left to the upside. Hang on. Sorry for that. SPX, again, unfortunately, 3%. They say three inches isn't big enough. Well, tell that to the SPX, because 3 inches has been big enough for the better part of this year. And then you look at your green months, again, because some people hear about it. Yeah, green month, so what? Well, you're actually going into history here. And like I've shared with you earlier last week, you're going into history here with what's going on. You had your 6 as you had your blow off there into 2018 top in September. You had your 7 off of COVID coming over here as we were after Joe Biden won the election, and as we were pushing in here into November before the little November volatility, right in there, November, August, September, November volatility into the end of the year, into the new tax year. And here we are with 6 green months in a row over here on the SPX, ES, SPY, whatever you want to call it. QQQ. Can we get to 638? Yes, we can. We can go to 638. Or is it stupid that we're above 609? Yes, it's absolutely stupid. But there's nothing that you're going to do to fight that. Because, again, you were gapped up, nothing you could do about it, and gapped up again, nothing you can do about it, and everybody has now reported their earnings, and your new tax year doesn't begin until January of 2026. On your VIX, you're alive, and that's good. We have a very lively VIX, which is allowing for some very good trading. You can actually do some single leg calls, single leg puts over on the SPX and SPY and other items, QQQ. But, do we have anything that's extremely aggressive where you could see 50 cent? Nothing right now. Nothing. That 2102 kiss that had us screaming oversold, we're extremely oversold. Well, that 2102 kiss is what got that rally to where we got up into the 6900s. So you always have to respect what your VIX has got with you if you're going to be trading the SPX, because you can't trade one without the other. On the Dow Jones, DIA, nothing. 475. It was interesting watching last week how you get up here right up into around that 479 area, and then you'd get a rejection down to 475. Pretty cool. But there's seriously nothing taking place. And from a bigger, broader, wider view of things, I got into those DIA puts with no question whatsoever because I don't care about what's happening over a 1 or 2 day period of time. I'm out until next year. So peace and tranquility, it's your easiest path forward. Finish off here with the IWM. IWM, tiny little gap from going back a week and a half ago, unfilled, but easily nice coming back down off of that 250 visit, back into that 248. Not really selling down, but at the same time, you're starting to see a little bit more weakness showing up on the IWM, which could be a initial sign that, yes, all the other indexes could start to follow. Where are we else? I'll bring you over here quickly. Watching very closely here the Nikkei. The Nikkei has just been on an explosive run. That's why I shared it with you the other day in the room, because the Nikkei has been going absolutely berserk. Your 10-year is climbing, and very soon to be climbing back up above that 4.19. So caution here on your, unwanted expectations of yields rising. Your Dow transports have been rising, back to going green on the year. The DXY has been climbing back up into that 100 range. So, again, be very, very cautious and very careful about what it is. I'll bring it back, though, because Bitcoin, you're starting to get a little bit of a warning signal over here on Bitcoin. And some people might not believe it, some people might, but you are starting to get a little bit of a warning here on Bitcoin, and you need to start paying attention to it because you are slowly starting to trend into that resisting the 50-day moving average, testing the support on the 200-day moving average. And I can tell you here, you lose 100, you don't have to like it, you don't have to dislike it, you don't have to agree with it, but you're going back down to 50,000. That's just the way it's going to be. So I leave you off with that and bring you on to, again, your bigger, broader, wider view, just so you can understand where you're at. Showing you here the monthly chart on the ES, just so it's clean. No reason it's the ES instead of SPY or the SPX. It's just simply a clean chart. But as you can see here, coming off of your 2009 lows and your 2018 highs that were placed here in the very beginning. Hang on. You see your upper channel, you see your lower channel. And you can see how you're just riding across the top of your upper channel. So, once again, heading into a new year makes perfect sense to be getting ready for that new year. And as we approach that new year, it's up to you to do the math on, I'm going to hold here because, I can still get another 3 points to the upside. You weigh that 3 points to the upside versus, what's on the downside on the other stuff. I leave you here with excuse me. I leave you here with some earnings this week. Win. Coming off of that April low, 1, 2, 3, 4. We traded Win already. Made a nice little trade off of it earlier in the year. And here we are extended pretty wildly up into this 134. Nice little dip and going into earnings. Win. Okay, Win. Now, let's zoom out a little bit on Win. Well, this is where we're at with Win. This is where we're at. So if you wanted to be realistic and say, you know what, I'm going to let Win come to me, well, then you want Win to be up here around that 145 area. That's what you want. You want Win to come up to you and come up to around 145. And at 145 is where you'll say, okay, Win, now it's time for us to play ball. I'm going to look for you for a retracement. And if you did that, you wouldn't actually be wrong, because when you look at this from a chart, you've got your nice bottom over here in April, your 1, 2, 3, 4, and your fifth wave very easily can take you up there to 145. Very simple. So watch for that 145. JP Morgan. If you see the way that this channel has built in, and if you can't see it because it's too much detail, well, maybe default. No, yeah, whatever, default. You had a nice little grind to the downside here. So for me, which I'm going to bring you back over onto the detailed view, I'm looking for JP Morgan to make one last move up above 320, possibly reaching up there to around 325. And that's where I'll start looking at JP Morgan as very potentially having hit its full-blown top. That's what I'm looking at. 320 to 325. Until then, I don't want nothing to do with it. Zoom you out a little bit so you can see where we're talking about here. And this is where we're talking about, coming off of COVID. You got your 1, 2, 3, your 4. It makes sense to have a perfect 5 fit here in between 316 and 325. You're up 125%, 193%, couple of drawbacks over there, and I'm not 100% sure where we're at on the year, but okay, 200 to 318, so it's not up 100%. It's up a little bit better than 50% from the April bottom. Good stuff, good enough. That's what I'd be looking at going into the new year. It's 320, 325. That'll be my top target. Palantir, going to be reporting earnings tomorrow. So Palantir, nothing. Dead. Dead, 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 dead. And then all of a sudden last week, the end of the week, boom, 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 boom. Straight on up. Wider view, I've stopped. I've stopped here with Palantir because it was actually starting to get aggravating. All it is now is just going back and updating here. But yeah, with Palantir, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, call it a 5. Needed a 145 close on the dip that we got over here back in August. Only came down to 145, did not break down below 145. And here we have floated right back up to the upside and now pushed into the what would be considered to be perfect 202.47. 202.47 for what should theoretically be an alternative view for a wave 3, and then a wave 4 dip, and then a wave 5 to the upside to 300 or possibly 475 on Palantir. Yes, I'm being sarcastic and facetious. But no, what we're looking at here is, the initial visits above 200, zoomed in view. I wouldn't trade Palantir ahead of earnings. I wouldn't. But when you do get that earnings like we had over here in August with the big gap up, came up, hit a nice little top that we were looking at, and then your nice little retracement to the downside, that's what we'll be looking at for a reaction. Get a move off of Palantir, and then use our gaps over here back to 190 in order to look for a trade that we can find on it. Netflix, dead in the water, absolutely nothing. NFL is on. The weather is beautiful. I am considering to stop coughing for the next 20 to 35 minutes. Emails, I will do everything in my power to fix them. Sunrise is going to be happening over here in about 2 hours, I think, something like that. So enjoy your Sunday. See you in the chat room.